This girl fights only with her legs. Yes, just like the video game character Chun Li from Street Fighter. Mona Kimura has had plenty of fights in her career and is still undefeated. But how does she manage this? Can she fight with her hands? And most importantly, why does she fight only with her legs? The answers will shock you, so let's start from the very beginning. This girl was born on April 12, 2001, in Mizuho, Gifu, Japan. From early childhood, starting in the 4th grade and up until entering university, she trained in boxing. Yes, she started her path in martial arts with boxing. She achieved success in boxing. At 18, she became the champion of Japan. Boxing will be very useful to her in the future. Moreover, in 2022, Mona represented Japan at the Women's World Championship. However, she ultimately chose kickboxing, despite the fact that it is a much more brutal sport. Signing a contract with the Crush promotion, Mona is often compared to the fighting game character Chun Li for her very similar fighting style. What's more, Kimura cleverly uses this image in a visual sense. She is interviewed and admired for her incredible skills. You'd never think she could knock a person down with a single left strike. Whether it's a hand or a leg, doesn't even matter. Always smiling and positive, Kimura has literally become a phenomenon. Her legs deserve a separate discussion. They are simply unpredictable. More than that, she uses them like a normal jab. In simpler words, her legs are an extension of her arms, and it all started in childhood, when her parents made her stand on one leg for long periods of time, as if they knew her future in advance. In her first 2 fights, Kimura fought mostly with her legs, leading many to make the false assumption that she had become easy to predict. However, in her 3rd fight, she proved that people were clearly underestimating her. On the contrary, from what I've seen, Kimura adapts very easily and quickly to any situation. She evolves, and that's an extraordinary skill and gift. In the fight review, we'll take a closer look at this. Debut fight, November 16th, 2024. Her first opponent was the Japanese fighter Hwoarang. We've talked so much about Kimura's legs, but she starts her debut fight with jabs. The first time she tries to load her leg, she ends up on the canvas. Her opponent managed to grab it. You can see how easily and effortlessly Mona hops around the ring on one leg. For such showboating, she did take a small hit, but for her, that's just a minor detail. Kimura responds with a solid hook. After this turn of events, Hwoarang rushed into a clinch, but Mona simply pushed her away, sending her onto the canvas. Hwoarang starts getting frustrated and lands some good hooks to Kimura's head. But this doesn't bother Mona at all. In fact, she quickly pays the debt. With a left straight right to the jaw. Hwoarang goes down in a knockdown. It looks like she didn't even realize what happened, but she managed to get back up quickly, which is already good. Mona starts taking the initiative. Another hook lands. Hwoarang tries to go into a clinch, but fails. Instead, she literally runs into Kimura's right hook, which sends her into a spectacular knockout. And once again, we see smiling Mona. Second fight, January 26, 2025. This time, her opponent was the Japanese fighter, Yuka. Mona almost immediately brings her legs into play, and it looks beautiful. At the same time, she doesn't forget to use her jabs. But when it comes to her legs, it looks like bullying. They land everywhere, both to the body and the head. And here comes that classic Chun Li style, entire series of sharp kicks. You can clearly see Mona using her legs like a spear, meaning her legs don't allow her opponent to close the distance. Meanwhile, Mona's head seems completely out of reach, but if her opponent somehow manages to get past her leg, Mona remembers that she spent many years boxing. In simpler words, Kimura is a universal soldier. You never know what she's going to do next. Her leg looks like a snake about to strike, and that has a huge psychological effect on her opponent. One of her kicks here looks almost humiliating, as if Kimura is saying, "Step back, keep your distance." And she does it so calmly and confidently, as if she's at practice. You can imagine Yuka's frustration when elegant high kicks keep landing on her head, giving her no chance to even get close to her opponent. Yuka finally manages to land a straight punch to Mona's head, and that can be considered a big celebration. Kimura isn't afraid to exchange blows, actively using her full arsenal. More Chun-Li style bullying from Mona. This clearly angers Yuka. Emotions take over, and you can see it on her face. But that same face, just seconds later, absorbs a series of sharp jabs.
変化でしてくるので、なかなかね足の上げられてる時が非常に
まとめていこうというユカです。
戸惑いますね、ユカ選手。
Another beautiful, graceful high kick lands on poor Yuka's head. Right after that, a body kick follows, an unpleasant feeling. Another body kick sends Yuka to the canvas. We also see Mona making an interesting hand gesture, most likely a parody of fighting game characters. But Yuka quickly gets back up and continues. Still, nothing changes. Kimura completely takes over the initiative.
突き上げるようなこの蹴りです。
ただ距離は1ラウンドよりも詰まってきているんじゃないかなというふうに思います。
距離をじわじわと詰めながら今の空を切りましたが右を当てていきたいわけです。
During the break, Mona looks calm, cheerful, smiling. Yuka, on the other hand, looks angry and upset, realizing she is losing the fight. Yuka actively starts the final round, but it leads to nothing. Once again, she's overwhelmed by Kimura's legs and hands.
でそこをねパンチを合わせれば、はい、倒せるっていうところは僕も、見てて思うので、はい、この前蹴りをどういうふうにさばくか、もしくは避けるか。かわされた時とかね、例えば前蹴りが空を切った後にすぐにパンチを当てれば十分倒せるタイミングがあるんで、
さあ伸びてきましたが、
でもスペシャリストですね、本当に素晴らしいです、このタイミング。
当てました。そして2つ蹴りを当てていきました木村。さあユカとしてはどんどん詰めていきながら持ち味のパンチを当てていきたい場面です。
Mona begins to mercilessly unload on her opponent. Total domination.
パンチをもらったんで横向くところで止まらずに強引にいっちゃっていいと思いますね。
先ほどおっしゃった牙の部分ですね。
はい、そこがチャンスになると思うので、
殴っていこうというところですが、蹴り、この足が着地するそのタイミングでパンと入っていけるかと。
そうですね、はい、そこにスキーとチャンスを作れると思います。
やはりそういったのも
Kimura's dominance only grows. Everything she throws lands. Yuka is completely demoralized, but manages to survive all 3 rounds.
フェイントを入れて左です。左、ここでガードしています。ガードの上からでもパンチ強烈です、木村。右を当てました。
いやでも本当ユカ選手の顔がだいぶ赤くなってますね。
そうですよね。ずっとこの蹴りがですね顔面付近に当たっていますので、顔付近が赤くなっています。今のも受けました。ボディです。残り時間が少なくなってきました。まさにその蹴りを出すタイミングも変幻自在という木村。
いや本当全く崩れないのがね。
A beautiful victory for Mona by unanimous decision. The third and so far latest fight of Kimura took place on June 27, 2025 against Satoko Ozawa. Mona immediately starts the fight with her signature high kick. Kimura once again fully switches to Chun-Li mode and starts unloading kicks on Satoko. Then she adds sharp, tasty jabs. Ozawa looks completely confused.
そうですね。いやもうチームドラゴンの初期メンバーに近いんじゃないですか。
これが一つガードの対策なんでしょうかね。
下手に蹴ったらね足の裏痛みますからね。
いやもう一回ガードがいいんじゃないですか。
さあまず30秒経過。
いいかもしれないです。いや結構いいかもしれないですよ。
そうですか。どの辺が具体的にいいですか。
いやまず顔面もらいづらいじゃないですか。でも、角度によっては危険ですけど、相手もちょっと的を絞りづらいですよね。
The beating continues. Mona feels like the master of the ring. Almost everything lands, especially her sharp jabs and hooks. No wonder she spent so many years boxing.
さあボディが打ち込んでいく木村。ボクシングの技術も非常に卓越しているという木村モナです。高校時代も全国制覇の経験があるという木村。左の
もう蹴りの
伸びています
間合いじゃないところにどんどん入っていっちゃってるから蹴りがつけないですよね。前あ出た。
この蹴りが出ます。
どうなんだろう、決まるのかな。あとは小沢選手が何の攻撃するかですよね。
そうですよね。ガードは秘策といいますか、そういったものがある。
Kimura totally controls the situation, choosing when and where to land her strikes. An extremely uncomfortable position for Satoko. After such shots, Ozawa's face begins to pour with blood. It's painful to watch. Mona increases the power of her punches. At one moment, Satoko's head almost looks like it's about to snap off.
浦部さん、ここまで展開どういうふうに見てますか。
最初の策としては悪くなかったんですけどね、最初の策としては悪くなくて面白かったんですけどね。血が出てますね。
2名付近から流血してますか。
ちょっと切ったか。
顔面付近被弾している。
パンチかな。
非常にこの脱力した形からパンチを出してきます。
すごく鋭いですからね。
そして右の前蹴り。
僕が小田さんのセコンドについていたとしたら、もうクリンチぐらい接近して
左トリプル。
危ない。
クリンチぐらいかなりこう接近してということなんでしょう。
もう足のその蹴りの。
The second round begins with a devastating jab to Ozawa's head. Who said Kimura is easy to predict? Satoko continues to suffer. No defense can save her.
ガードの上からですがかなり強烈です。宮田さん、木村選手のこのパンチ非常。
A double jab lands, followed by a high kick to Ozawa's head, dropping her to the canvas. Once again, we see Mona's fighting game style gesture. Honestly, judging by Ozawa's face, it would have been better if she had stayed down. But she stood back up and continued this one-sided beating. It seemed like she had even stopped trying to defend herself. Satoko goes down again. Her face now looks like a smashed tomato. The referee couldn't stand the sight any longer and pulled her into the corner to at least clean her face up.
血の量が多くなっていますけれども、
パンチがね当たった時の体幹の固め方もすごいです。
The blood just wouldn't stop. Here you can see how expensive this fight turned out for Ozawa. The fight resumes, but it was obvious it was only a matter of time before it stopped again. And that's exactly what happened. Satoko kept taking heavy damage, and all her corner's efforts were in vain. The referee showed mercy and stopped the bloody beating.
お話もありました。左です。距離を詰めていく。
やっぱ、
止めました。ここで試合終了です。
In conclusion, it's clear that Kimura has a very bright future. Of course, if she continues to fight, and something tells me she will. Though when you look at her Instagram page, you'd never guess she could so easily turn someone's face into a bloody mess if she wanted to. But let's hope she won't want to. After all, she's cheerful and kind-hearted.